Hi, I'm Amethyst, and welcome to the first episode of Ask an Autistic. For the first episode of Ask an Autistic, I'm going to introduce myself and talk a bit about stimming. Firstly, I'm Amethyst. I am 22 years old. I'm autistic, and I blog about disability and autism at my Tumblr blog, NeuroWonderful. I get a lot of questions from parents, family members, some educators about autism, and it's good, it's great. I think that right now we're going into a time where people are realizing that maybe what we thought we knew about autism isn't accurate, and what we thought we knew about autism was the observations, sometimes inaccurate observations, of neurotypical scientists, doctors, and researchers. So I think it's great. Come at me, bring all the questions. I'm just so happy to answer them because I do dream of and work towards a world where autism is widely accepted and that autistic people can be themselves and be happy doing so. Happy autistic people. Yay! Stimming. What is stimming? Stimming is also known as stereotype behaviors, and in some parts of the world I've heard them called tics. So stimming, stims, tics, kind of all the same thing. Autistic people might self-stimulate for 3 different reasons, which I'll get into, and those 3 reasons are to self-regulate, to seek sensory input, sensory seeking, and expression. Firstly, what does stimming look like? Stimming, I think the most classic example is hand flapping. Parents notice this in their young autistic children, that they will flap their hands when excited or agitated or just when they're happy and enjoying life. And I hand flap when I'm excited or when I'm anxious. So that's a good example. Also rocking. Many autistic people are known to rock, and that's a common stimming behavior. Other stimming behaviors can include all the senses. There are actually 7 senses. There's more actually, but I'm going to talk about the 7. So you know the 5 of taste, touch, smell, sight, hearing? But you also have Proprioceptive Sense. And that's the sense that your brain knows where you are in space and also knows where your body parts are and also how much pressure to put on things. So you want to be very gentle picking a flower, or you want to put a lot of force into hammering a nail. That is all determined by proprioceptive input. And then there's the vestibular sense, the 7th sense, and that is actually very closely connected to your inner ear, and it's balance and also movement and motion. So the vestibular sense is how your body knows that you're in motion or at rest, up or down, upside down or right side up. So that's the 7 senses. And so stimming can include and incorporate any of the 7 senses and sometimes multiple senses at once. So touch might be rubbing a soft blanket, or might be smelling something like essential oil, or just something that's interesting to you. When I was a kid it was dandelions. You could visually stim by looking at a windmill turning or something sparkly or flashing. You can stim all kinds of ways. Vestibular stemming would be spinning, which is also quite common in autistic children and adults, if you happen to like spinning on your computer chair, which I do. And then proprioceptive input stimming would be kids who like to wrestle as they play, or who will be very physical, and they kind of like throw themselves on their bed and jump up and down on the couch. They might be even undersensitive to proprioceptive input, so it's a way to know where their bodies are in space and to feel good. That's another aspect of stimming. As most people who have an autistic family member or who are autistic know, along with autism comes sensory processing disorder. And that's where your brain doesn't perceive sensory input in an accurate way. Is that when you have sensory processing disorder, it's not just uncomfortable. It's not like, well, those lights are rather bright, but I can deal with it. It's how those lights are like spears of hot pain going into my eyes. So a way to deal with all of this loud, bright, too fast, too crowded sensory input is to self-regulate, which is basically blocking bad input with good input. So A child who is sitting in their classroom and the fluorescent lights are overhead and they're flickering terribly and making you nauseous, and all the kids around you are whispering or chewing gum and the noises are getting to you, and you've been sitting for 2 hours and you don't know what you're going to do. You can self-regulate by rocking in your desk, by rubbing something like the rubbery end of an eraser, twirling your hair, tapping something against the side of your face. You can fidget with a fidget toy. All of these things, you can focus on the good sensory input, focus on one thing, and the rest of the world, which is too overwhelming and threatens to, cause a meltdown, it fades away. And so self-regulation is great. You can do it in all kinds of settings. I do it everywhere. When I was a kid, I was really discouraged from stimming, which I'm going to talk about in another video, and why you shouldn't discourage people from stimming. So it took me a while to get over that and to start to stim again, particularly in public. So now I mostly can, maybe not around my in-laws, still a little shy about that, but if I'm at the mall or at the movie theater, I'm not shy about doing what I need to do. When it comes to looking normal versus being able to live and function and be a happy, healthy autistic adult who stims, I would definitely take the latter, because looking normal drains your energy, it's terrible, you have to put up with all of the negative sensory input with no way to self-regulate. No, you can't stim. Like, why? It's terrible. You get exhausted, and maybe you could only spend 10 minutes at a party versus an hour if you were able to stim. So self-regulation, stimming is great for that. The second reason is sensory seeking. Neurotypical people have this too. They enjoy things, right? Like, delicious chocolate mousse, or, oh, that music is so beautiful. But I think autistic people might take it to another level, seeking sensory input and just really enjoying it. When I'm listening to a sound I really enjoy, or I'm, rocking and listening to music at the same time and just feeling the music flow through me, and I just get in the zone, just so blissful, spinning in my computer chair, I feel so happy. Sensory seeking is great and just very enjoyable. And so some neurotypical parents will wonder, Johnny's been holding a flashlight up to his face and turning it on and off for the past 2 hours, should I stop him? Yeah, I'd say unless it's a laser flashlight and there's a chance of eye damage, no. Because, it might not be the way that a neurotypical child would play and enjoy themselves, but little Johnny is having a great time. His brain is just firing with fireworks of joy and enjoying the sensory input, and I say, it's fine. Has Johnny done his homework? Has he eaten dinner and taken a bath? Then, let him look at the flashlight for 2 hours, or rock to music, or bang his Thomas the Train engines together. What's the harm, other than maybe embarrassment on the parts of neurotypical parents? Expression is the third reason that people might stim, autistic people. And it's interesting to me that neurotypical doctors and scientists have lumped all kinds of hand flapping and rocking together, when to me it's quite obvious, because it is my natural body language, that there are different kinds of rocking and different kinds of flapping. In my experience, if I'm really enjoying something and I'll start rocking with, my neck extended a little bit, and it'll be more slow and rhythmic, like, this chocolate cake, or, oh, this apple fritter is great. Agitated or anxious rocking, more hunched over and quicker, shorter motions. And my husband, who lives with me, of course, has grown to learn and know what my rocking means and my hand flapping. Happy hand flapping, yeah, so much fun, I love kittens. And then there's my more agitated hand flapping. Oh no, my husband Marvin knows to come over and ask, is everything okay, what's going on? And oh no, my cat, she's jumping up on the bookshelf. She's so bad. She can't stand me giving attention to anything else. Okay, hi kitty. Hand flapping, expression, that's the third reason that people might stim. And that's another reason why it's terrible to discourage stimming. We don't just need it for self-regulation. It's the natural way that we move. It's, our natural way of growing, learning, expressing ourselves. And so if you tell a child, don't flap your hands in public, the child is just expressing their joy, and you're telling them, no, stop, the way you move is bad and shameful. What does that tell the kid about themselves? Personally, that if someone has a problem with a child hand flapping, which isn't hurting anyone, that is their problem. I think rather than forcing autistic individuals to conform and force themselves very, exhaustingly to act and look normal, I think a better option is to encourage society to learn and embrace different neurotypes because, hey, I think autism is great, and autistic people are wonderful and lovely. So that was my first video on stimming. I'm sorry I talked really fast. I'm going to try to talk less fast next video, and maybe my cat Kitty will be back, so like stay tuned if you like cats. I do. Thanks for watching my video, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them in the comment section, and I'll be linking to a few resources on stimming, what stimming is, what stimming looks like, and if you want to like this video or thumbs it up, that'd be cool too. Thanks for watching the very first episode of Ask an Autistic.